Hello everyone, thank you for joining us this Saturday. I see I've got Matthew, Staley, the peronosphora, faster. I'm with Peff, and let me launch the intro. Hello everyone, I'm with Peff. How are you doing today? Yes, Peff, how are you today? Hi.
Frank, I'm smoked out, but otherwise I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing cool. So Peff is also known as Kurt, so Peff or Kurt will be all of the above. I've got Alondra Hamilton joining me, Malaki also. Hi everyone. Let's go a little bit over the news with Kurt. So you know my site, pitchymango.org, please have a look. Want to remind everybody, I can't do that without all my Bandcamp supporters. It's about $20 a year, cheaper than Patreon or other things. If you want to become one of my supporters, that would be awesome. Last Wednesday was a peak, that was really awesome. We had the Xibalba and Malaki. Malaki was on the chat. Xibalba did a piece with two OPZ and a very big mixer, and Malaki did a nice piece also on a modular synthesizer. So you can view it again on Peak, and let me give you the link to the channel. And if you can subscribe to this channel, I think they need to reach the 100 so they can have a better link. All right, Alpha say, miss the intro. Oh, no, I signed it. Okay, I'm here. What did I miss? All that's gone. Not much, we are just starting. All right. Resident is on September 8th. It's open for submission. It's simple. You upload a YouTube video, less than 20 minutes of your performance and your music. As unlisted, you fill up the form, and we will have a watch party together. So that's the improviser. Let me give you the link. Sorry, Resident monthly, but it's on the improviser, and you can get the link for the form. Also, that was 2 weeks ago. So last week we had Distortion Corporation, also known Danny, who did Binary Society, and this is where I met M.0, and I had M.0 before, and he made a piece, and now he has released it on Bandcamp. It's called A Brand New Day. And I think that was the inspiration for this piece, is that waking up in the morning, what he would feel like, and putting it in the music. So Brand New Day. So no, it's on Bandcamp. So if you want to support M.0, please head to there. I've seen also that Einbach has released a new album. It's on the Cell Record label. So also it's on Bandcamp. Let me give you the link. All right. What else did I see? Error Grid. Error Grid is a label that Malaki is part of, and they release a new album, which is AD by Sleep Clinic. So please check Error Grid, and I think Malaki album should be coming soon. Also, Malaki can tell us more on the chat. And I had him a couple of, I don't know, 1 month, 2 months ago. So that was cool. I've got also, what did I see? So Julia Bonar has released a new album, a new single, and you can find it on Bandcamp. Here we go, all the news. Oh no, I'm missing one. So we have got our friend Next Expanse, who has been building modules. We saw him soldering things. So he's got the site, he's got the modules ready. It's not for sale yet, but it should be coming relatively soon, and you can see the module, see the demonstration, and get more information. So that's Next Expanse, who's now starting in the module business with a new systems instrument. All right, today I've got Peff, or Kurt Kurosaki, and or Kurt, and at the Alpha Hour, then we did a music piece together. That was Kurt's idea to do a buchla duet. So he made a piece and added a layer on it. So you'll see the video. So it's in about 20 minutes. All right, Peff, how are you doing? So you say you're in between 3 fires at the moment?
3 or 4 fires, something like that, yeah. The Santa Clara fire, the Santa Cruz fire, the Carmel fire, and the Salinas fire, yeah. I feel bad for all those people out there. It's terrible. But so suffering through a little smoke is nothing compared to what some people are going through.
Yes, indeed.
But let's talk about synthesizers instead, so we can ignore reality for a while. Yes. At least an hour.
So I pasted your site, peff.com, and I'll start by the usual question. So who are you?
I'm Kurt. So I started that website like in 1998, and it started as like a propeller head fan site, and it's really old technology. I think it's running WordPress.
That works.
Or something like that. And I would post up all sorts of things that related to Rebirth, propeller heads, 303, 808, 909 emulation, and then Reason stuff when propeller heads put out Reason. And I put up like sample libraries and different content and examples and tutorials and things like that. And, just kind of grew from there as things changed over the decades, which is kind of weird, having run something for 22 years. My interest kind of shifted as well, even though I still do stuff for propeller heads on occasion, and I still support the products that we've released through them, and I'm just trying to keep the site going just for nostalgia's sake. But Peff was my Usenet handle from like the 90s. So, and it just kind of stuck. And, I was early enough to get a 4-letter domain name. So I got it, and I just kind of parked it with my website.
Yeah, that's important. And I don't know.
Yeah, just, as these new technologies have come out, like that's why I have Instagram Peff and Twitter Peff and Facebook I don't have, but
man,
no. Yeah, MySpace Peff. I think it's still.
Yeah, no, it's nice to. I don't know. It's nice to have a website and keep things there because technology moves. I don't know. Facebook came, but then now it's Instagram, and now it's TikTok. So technology moved, but you can be anchored on your website and keep things there.
Yeah, I stopped. I don't have a TikTok account. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Why is there like modular stuff on TikTok?
Yeah, I think I just went on TikTok to kind of lock my name, and I put one video, and I saw Malachi's there and maybe 2 or 3 other people doing modular synth, and that's about it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. No, that's.
Yeah.
You really have to. That's such an integral part of this whole movement. The social media aspect and people sharing their content and what their creations on modular systems on these different platforms, and that's really what's made it explode. It's like you look at these cool pictures and videos and sounds, and it's like people who had no interest in this stuff are suddenly discovering it. So, which works to everyone's benefit, I think.
Yeah. Malachi confirmed. He says there's about like 5 people on TikTok that do modular synth or are tagging stuff. Who did join Synthor Music? I see him. Dylan Sang.
Up Peter.
So
it's like people we know, right?
Yeah, yes, mainly. I've got a few people that are going to say hi a little bit later. But yeah, so did you? So you talk about reason, but did you start in music by reason, or I don't know, where music come from for you?
I've always liked technology since I was a little kid, and at some point I was on a trip to Japan, and when you're going through like the train stations, there are all these little kiosks underneath between each track, and you'd see like walls of calculators and all sorts of little gadgets, and I kept gravitating to one of these things.
Oh,
Casio.
yeah.
The old Casio VL1. So I think that's where the interest first got started back in like the 70s. So, and then on a subsequent trip to Japan, I ended up getting a Juno 106 and a Boss DR 110, and then it kind of just grew from there. So yeah, I've been doing this 40 years that I've been messing around with these things. And then I guess in the late 80s, that's when I picked up my first modular system, and that's that photo I sent you.
Okay, let me put it on. Here we go. Yeah, that's yeah. I put on the photo on the stream. So right. That's a buchla.
Yeah.
Did you get the module one by one, or did you got it in one go?
I bought most of that system in one go. It was back in the 80s. There was this. It's like a free magazine you would find outside of like Guitar Center or Guitar Showcase called Bay Area Musician, and then they would have classified ads in the back. And there was someone who had listed a buchla synthesizer. And so I called the number and talked to the guy and said, okay, let me come check it out. And I just kind of bought it. I was like 19 years old or something like that.
Yeah, that's
and I I've had it since then, since the 80s. I haven't. There's a period where I didn't really use it too much. And then a period where the power supply died, and I slowly worked on the power supply, got it up and running, and realized that the power supply just was not adequate for the size of the system. And it wasn't until and I kept talking to Don. I said, Don, I thought maybe I could get a new case. Like I was thinking of getting one of the 200E cases, and he would always just kind of say, well, maybe we can do it. I don't know. But the reality is he couldn't do it. He couldn't build me a case for that system because the easel is too deep. And so, but he would never admit to it. It's like, why waste his time kind of thing. So anyways, I ended up buying just the power bus board, the switching power supply for it. And I put it inside that old system, and I got it running, and it was glorious. Like I never realized how good it sounded until I had the right power supply in it. So
yes, indeed. Sometimes power make a difference. I see Bruce Ricordan join also. So if you have any question, please type it in the chat, and I'll ask Kurt. I'll ask them.
Hi, Bryce. Go on.
I think he's ecstatic in your first modular synth. But yeah,
that, and then I picked up an ARP 2600 back in the late 80s for $50 with a keyboard because it was dead. Like we plugged it in and nothing happened. So, and that was one of those where it's like, yeah, it's not working. It could be simple or it could be really complicated. I said, here, just give me $50. I said, okay.
And And was it simple or complicated, or you don't want to say?
One capacitor, one Bandcamp. That was it. Took weeks to find it, but it was just that one, and as soon as I pulled it, it powered up.
Yeah, so in between, not difficult to fix once you know what's wrong.
Yeah, it's just funny, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, so from there, did you stay buchla or did you go eurorack, or I don't know what's the evolution? You say you so this one plus the ARP.
Oh, right. There was a little period there in the mid '90s when I was running a little studio, and I just had a shit ton of MIDI stuff, which I actually still have. I hate to say it, but like all the Roland MKS stuff, Super Jupiter rack, Super JX rack. I had a Korg M1, had a Korg Prophecy, like Proteus modules, the Kai samplers, Waldorf, all those iconic pieces from the '90s, late '80s, early '90s. It was all outfitted there, and there were a couple of interesting projects that had come through. It was a little project studio when I was living up in Oakland, and we just ran everything off of whatever sequencer. It was like either originally I was using like Voyetra software for an IBM PC, and then Logic, and then Studio Vision. Kind of had all of these different programs running in order to control everything on that rig. And then we just recorded back through, I had a Neotech console, and we're using ADATs. And, it was kind of cool. You would track stuff, process it through Pultec EQs or tube compressors, and like give it that big full production sound. The weak point was, of course, the ADATs. They suck balls. But we got some, when things were working okay, we get some really, really cool stuff out of it.
Yeah, no, that's nice. Yeah, the early digital tape, and I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why I was such an early adopter of like software. I think like having everything all in the box, because I got so tired of maintaining all that stuff. So when like Rebirth came out, I was like, this is so cool. You can just do everything right on one screen, and you can recall everything, and so you can just churn out track after track in no time at all. And then, of course, things go in waves. I kind of got tired of that too, and then now I'm back to hardware. So
yes. So when did you join the, I guess, modular synthesizer, the eurorack format, or when you started to see that?
Oh, I remember when Dieter had brought out the system. I think I saw it, and it was either NAM or Musikmesse. I think it was Musikmesse. No, I think it was NAM when I first saw it, and I was like, oh, yeah. I had watched it for like 3 or 4 years. Like, this is really cool. This is really cool. And then all of a sudden, back then, Sean from Analog Haven would have a whole section set up of like boutique synth makers and modular makers, and I just wanted to spend most of my time down in that section of the trade show, and then it's probably, yeah, I think the real problem was Steve at Robot Speak. Like, I was urging him on to say, you know what, this is coming. You should probably start looking into stocking some of this stuff, and then in order to help him like or in order to motivate him, I said, I'll buy some stuff right away. So he made the investment, and then from there, it's just been kind of nonstop. But it was around this time that I started, working on the buchla too. Like, it was sitting on the side, and I'd work on it a little bit, and then I'd still play with the eurorack. But then once I got the buchla up and running, the eurorack stuff started to kind of become just a distraction from the buchla. I just put all my attention into the buchla system. And then there was, at some point, something broke in my brain, and I said, all right, I'm going to just get a big 200E system.
Yeah. I've seen your 200E system. It's a nice one. I've got Andrew Hamilton who's asking, if you know where you could find the Lindrum mod for Rebirth 1.0.
Yeah, I know where to find it. But I only have it for Mac. I don't have it for PC if it's Rebirth 1.0. And if you're looking for I never had the radium cracks. So, but I know where it is.
I'll post your website.
Email me.
Yeah, I'll post your website again. Andrew, go on the contact page. Tell Kurt that you got the contact through this one. And
the other day I heard Roger Lynn's original drums recordings for the Lynn drum.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's one of the perks of hanging out at the Dave Smith office.
Yes, indeed. I've got DB Poland, Wabi Sabi who joined also. I'm just checking who come in on the show. So, as you mentioned, Dave Smith, Sequential Office, and I see on your website you worked on the Sequential Pro 3, and I think it's just behind you.
Yep, Pro 3. Dave doesn't need any advertisement, but Pro 3.
It's more, what did you do with it, or what was your involvement? If you can talk to us about it.
Pro 3. Let's see. I've been doing. I'm part of the sound design team. There's like a group of 15, 20 of us who are invited to submit patches for the factory sound bank, and they kind of send you a prototype and say, hey, can you make 50 patches in a week? And then you send the unit to the next sound designer. This one, I also helped him out with some of the wavetables. So that was an interesting challenge.
I was just saying I went to Sequential Office and their studio, and they're very nice. You can make an appointment. And I was trying all the synthesizer, and I really like the Pro 2, but I said I'm not buying another monophonic synthesizer. I need a polyphonic because I didn't have a polyphonic, so I went for the Rev 2. But I really like the Pro 2. I haven't played with the Pro 3, but from Pro 2 to Pro 3, I guess it's all extra goodies.
I love the Pro 2 and the Prophet 12. I love that it's a digital sound engine with analog filters, and I'm one of the weirdos who got the DX7 back in the 80s and really liked programming FM synthesis with operators, which is it was really tedious, the one data slider and then the buttons and the panel and then like a little 2-line LCD display. But it was just like it was like having little Tetris pieces for the different algorithms. And it was just fun to like pull up an algorithm and just start messing around with different settings and seeing how that FM phase modulation system would create different sounds. And I always thought the DX7 was just probably one of the more expressive instruments ever made. And that approach to synthesis just lent to a much more organic sounding performance as opposed to analog synths where it requires a lot of. I'm sure if you had like 4 or 5 hands and you could modulate, several parameters all at the same time, like envelopes and filters and timbre control, you could probably get something close to what the DX7 does. But the velocity modulation mapping and the different curves that you could apply to different algorithms, it's just pretty deep. And so that's why I like the Pro 2 and the Prophet 12 a lot, because you have a lot of those similar features, and they put linear FM into it. So yeah, you can make it sound like a DX7. Plus, you have control voltages, Franck. You have plenty of things you can interface it with.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, no, that's nice. DB Paran is asking, what do you think of the Novation Peak, which has similar digital OSC and analog pass, or the Summit?
I've never touched it. Sorry. I'm only here to promote sequential stuff.
Fair enough. I don't know, I play once or twice with it. I think Austin had also a prototype where he was doing some patch for it, and he really did the Arbeni sound on it, on the sound bank. That was amazing.
Nice.
And that was cool.
What's interesting is like people are getting these, it's kind of cool because you get one of these hardware synths and it just becomes a sound source. And now that there's so many samplers and recording modules for Eurorack, you can create something with a keyboard and then just fly it into your Eurorack, and then all of a sudden, you're creating your own custom. I mean, it's sound design basically, right? And it's kind of nice that the bigger instruments are starting to get a little more attention, because there is certain limitations to Eurorack, and for those of us who studied some music or piano lessons, or it's kind of a good way to balance the two worlds.
Yeah, I find the I don't know, the Eurorack taught me sound design a little bit more than melody or things like that, But the sound design got me, when I hear a sound that I'm thinking, okay, I've got some ideas to reproduce this sound. So that's the interesting part of Eurorack, and also experimenting on something that is not what you call it classical music or classical notation or stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, the standard synthesizer are also interesting because you can get on the melodic rhythm, and you can record a melodic or a melody and then put it on Magnus Morphagene and then just call it when you need it.
Morphagene, yeah.
Or any other sampler. Well, Morphagene you can mess up with it, so that's nice too.
I've done that, yeah. I've sampled the buchla into Morphagene, and yeah.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I see a new system instrument just joined, so Next Expanse. I just spoke earlier about the new modules, and he said that the DX7 still thought underrated. I had when I was a kid, I had a neighbor who was in the band and they had the DX7, so kind of saw what he was doing, and I don't know, that was the instrument but mainly people were just calling the sound on the bank, on the patch bank.
Right.
Programming was really complicated, but between the Core Game 1 and the DX7, that was mainly the use. He had the wide variety of sound that were good for a lot of use and perfect for a village or city band, so that you can play everything that's on the radio.
Exactly.
and nearly sound like the original band. Yeah, we are getting at half of the hours. That's when usually I put the little music part. Before that, I want to remind everybody to click subscribe, like, follow on my site and on Kurt. And I think also I didn't post your other site, so
it's okay. I'm not in this game to get followers or anything like that anymore. Yeah. I'm too old.
I'm too old for that. Me too. You can see what Kurt is doing on. There's some cool picture and some demo, and
I've secretly been updating my blog posts and back. So because everyone else is on the other platform, so I figured, you know what, if I put this up, no one's ever going to see it. So that's been the thing lately. It's just to update the blog and maybe someone will see it.
Yeah, that's what I try to do also, is that I try to anchor my site and then try to drive people to to my site. That's why I put my update and long stuff, and trying to encourage people to join my mailing list, and not so like this. I'm not dependent on whatever is the next best site of the moment. And music is I don't know, it's working in a long time, in a long duration.
Yeah.
You work for several years in it, or you enjoy it for several years. It's not like the last exciting things of the moment.
But you make plenty of money harvesting people's data already. So.
Yeah. Well, since our music say that DX7 and Prophet 600 offset with an OBXA was my gig rig in the 80s.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh. All right.
Wait a second.
What are you bringing us? Okay.
Now he needs one of these.
Oh, the IKMPC.
MPC, yeah.
Do you still find the floppy disk?
No, I've been working on this one during quarantine. So, but yeah, I mean, the beauty of it is look at all the MIDI outputs it has. So.
Oh, yes. Yeah. What did I read recently that Boeing 747 are still updated via floppy disk? So. Yeah,
I modified it with a compact flash.
Oh, cool.
SCSI or no SD SCSI reader. So I've got that, and then I had to replace the backlight. So I ended up actually swapping out for a new OLED LED backlight screen. So yeah, so that's been fun.
All right, so I think it's time to play this piece of music. We'll find you out just after to continue this discussion. Yeah, that was interesting. Because,
in quadraphonic?
No. So I'm recording my part in quadraphonic, so I don't know.
People should know that we actually worked on it in quadraphonic.
Yes, indeed. And then don't couple in the... but yeah, I'll have to figure it out how to release it in quadraphonic or through YouTube with ambisonic. We'll figure it out something.
Okay.
But yeah, that was interesting because when I ask you, we'd like to come to the show, then you say, oh, okay, what piece of music? You say, why don't we do something together as the 208C was released? And I remember I went to pick up mine at Robot Speak, and there was yours, on top of it or below, I don't know which one. And I said, okay, Steve, can I take both of them?
Steve's been known to sell stuff that I've ordered behind my back and then reorder it and say, oh, it'll be coming in later.
Yes, but I remember this, I don't know, us getting the 208C was when we were at the concert of Alessandro Cortini and Richard Devine, and Steve was there, and you say, okay, who's buying a 208C here? Okay, Steve, Steve, start the order.
I know I pressured you, so that's why I figured, it made sense that we worked on this project, this little piece together. So.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, that was fun. And you did a good line, and try just to add a couple of layers on top of it. So anyhow, let's listen to it, and then we can talk about it. Here we go. Oh, that was nice. So I got people say since our music very nice. Matthew Staley loves the soundscape. Michael Philo, some guys. Yeah. So it was really nice to work with you on this one, and get a little bit of layers. I think you did 80% of it, and I was just messing around with it. But I had a couple of questions. So, what are the gold pins that you find on the on your buchla, and how did you use them?
Oh, those are they're contact plates. They're made by Eric over at Landscape FM. I pulled a couple of them. He's making these jumpers for banana systems. And he made another product for Eurorack called All Flesh, where you can they're basically little PC boards with gold plating, and you can patch them into different points, and then you touch them and use the resistance in your skin to make a patch connection. So there are so those are pretty fun, and so he decided to try making some for banana systems. So they're made for search and buchla systems. So you can patch between like a voltage source and a modulation, and then just use your skin as a patch cable.
Yeah. And I think Scott was saying that the connection is from mod oscillator out, the first oscillator, to pressure and pitch.
Yeah, that's how I had it patched in that and on that configuration. Yeah. Because there's those three inputs on the 208 were designed to jump over to a 218 keyboard, and they're internal buses, so they're not really being used for anything if you're not using the MIDI or an external controller. So that's why I use these jumpers and so the mod os out was the source, and then I would just bus it to the pitch and the pressure for inputs.
Nice and interesting. You provided the first sound, so I don't know, what was the inspiration, or how do you came to make this one? What were you trying to do?
Let's see, what was I trying to do?
Oh, I don't know. What was the inspiration for this piece, and then
Morton Subotnick's always an inspiration. Honestly, it's always like, what would Mort do in a situation like this? And I'm not joking when I say that. It's like every performance that I've seen him do, he's got this way of like capturing the audience's attention by using dynamics, right? Like he will make the pieces very quiet, and then very loud, and then very quiet, and it's that exercise in dynamics that always makes for an interesting performance. And you can tell he's got this feel for how people are going to react, or it's his style. And we were going into this knowing that you were going to be layering your 208C on top of it. So I thought, all right, let's just start it small, keep it quiet, and then let you build on top of it. And then as time progresses through this, do little builds, and then bring it up, bring it down. And I've been messing with the 208C since we got him, and it was just sort of finding different ways of achieving those dynamic changes in real time, and that's where the touch plates kind of came in handy too, because that just added a whole new section of changes that wouldn't normally be there if I just used straight modular sources.
Yeah, indeed, and there was a different type of expression, and my inspiration was your inspiration, listening to the piece and trying to figure it out the mood, and what can I add to it. With necessarily overpowering it, but I can find the slot and the different thing.
Right.
And I think you gave me the roughly where did you put the pulsar, but we didn't have anything, so it was all okay. Does the sound fit and the rhythm, and so there was no like. I've done collaboration with people and we share a clock, and at least all your sound falls in the right timing. And here was like I don't know, a little bit everything by ear, so that was interesting.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine.
I don't know. I get tired of repetition, and having a clock source. I feel, just drags things out a little too much. Not that was a great 20 minutes of there. That was a pretty torturous 20 minutes of noise, but it would be worse if it was all at 135 BPM for 20 minutes.
But that's the thing which is nice with the buchla is the experimentation, no rhythm, if you can go that part, not necessarily having, a BPM all the way, the same BPM all the way through the piece.
Well, and because you're so limited in terms of features, like bear in mind, everyone knows, I hope everyone knows that that was just two of us and two easel commands. It wasn't like we were using anything else, right?
Yeah.
So you're limited in terms of what features are available, and in order to make changes to an arrangement in a long piece, I think you do have to manipulate the pulse or tempo. You have to you can start it static like a regular rhythm, but at some point, if you want it to stay interesting, you have to change that rhythm somehow. And that's either by changing the period timing, running sample on hold to period time, or going to full chaos, running the pulsar at audio rate. And that's just another approach to just getting variations out of such a limited system.
Yeah, no, that's cool, and it's very expressive. That's quite nice. Just asking people on the chat if you have got any question, please send them our way. I think DB Paran was asking which night you performed at Synplex last year, because he may have some picture of you.
It was Friday night.
Okay, Friday night. So Friday night, if you got some picture, let me know. I'll pass it to Kurt, or just go on his site and then contact. Dave Baran is perform as Wabi Sabi is in up north.
Oh, cool.
And he performed once on Resident, and I've seen him performing with Colorado Modular Synth Society, New York Modular Synth Society also. There's a couple of, I don't know, the pandemic, because everything is streaming, has brought a little bit all the different community kind of together, because it's an online environment. So
right,
we are able to perform in all kind of cities easily, because our physical show are online, and then we invite people to see a little bit what's happening in other place. So it's nice.
Yeah, that Synplex was fun. Mike Learmouth and Michael Boddicker brought in a quadraphonic sound system into that space, and so I got to run the buchla and quad, and that was a lot of fun.
I listened to the buchla in the quad, and it's it's awesome. Well, I heard Susan Shandy and Morton also when he came at Gray Area twice. So I don't know, I really like quadraphonic music. But also trying also to learn to remove the technology behind the quadraphonic, so that it's just you experience it. You don't think about it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like oh wait, you did use you were using Poltergeist, weren't you?
Yes, that's quadraphonic. I have the Coma Poltergeist.
Yeah, I know, and I said we had done this in quadraphonic at the beginning because I'm using the H9000. I had programmed some quadraphonic panning algorithms in it, so it's honestly we're using 208Cs as the sound source, but other stuff to get it to go to quad. So
yes, indeed, it's interesting. Well, yeah, the 280 is. I'm not fully sure on this. I don't know. It's got a stereo output, but I'm sure the stereo output is just the stereo out of the reverb.
Right.
And everything before that, I guess, is mainly mono.
Right.
Yes. So yeah, I've been also using it in a piece I'm working, like just take one of the output and then just plug it in the Poltergeist and start to pan it around amongst all the other stuff that
yeah,
you're panning around.
You're gonna teach me how to use Poltergeist one of these days.
Yeah. Oh, it's a nice one. I think there's some also new modules that are supposed to come from Shackmat, quadraphonic ones. So I'm waiting for them to release them.
Oh, cool.
And Poltergeist is not available anymore. So if you don't have one, then it's hard to find one. And I got lucky because I think I got the last one from Analog Haven.
Okay. I got one of the last four that Coma.
Okay.
So
I'm waiting for Shackmat. I've seen the module and things are described on Modular Grid, and this sounds really nice. So I'm waiting for them to release, and maybe we'll have a little bit more quadraphonic people on eurorack format. DB Poland is asking me, have you played with something unusual like the Soma Lyra 8?
I haven't. I have not.
I don't know.
My friend, I people who have them, I have never really had a chance to play with it.
So maybe I could ask, what's the weirdest instrument you've been playing with?
Well, let's see. Yeah, I can't talk about it. Sorry.
All right. So the weirdest instrument that Kurt has played with is coming soon.
I mean, there's people were asking about the touch thing. There's always the stereo field.
Oh yes, I've seen a few people performing during the Church of the Super Search with it. It's interesting.
It's weird. It really is weird. I mean, it's just, there's no way to predict or reproduce what kind of sounds you get out of it. I mean, it's basically a bunch of feedback loops, internally. And as you touch things, the amount of surface contact with your skin and which feedback loops you're shorting, will generate a bunch of different squeals and blips or just thuds. So this is pretty weird.
Yeah, and the humidity in the room is never the same, so you're getting different results all the time.
Right. I like sometimes I'll use this just as a CD controller. Because it's just the voltages are just unpredictable, and you can just modulate it like whatever filter cutoff or pitch or FM amount in this weird way that all of a sudden brings a little life to what would normally be like a static modulation routing. So
yeah, and it's interesting to play with chaos, to bring order into chaos, from chaos. We are reaching a little bit where we pass the top of the hour. This is a little bit when I start. That's the time to.
Okay, but
do you have? I don't know. Is there anything that we should talk about before we leave, or have we covered everything you wanted to say, or anything? I don't know. I'm just leaving you more or less the. I don't know. If we haven't touched the topics, we can talk about it. Otherwise, I'm going to redo the news and leave you the word for the end.
Yeah, no, I can't really talk about anything.
No, just I don't know. We cover Horizon, you cover buchla, modular synth, or eurorack.
I mean, it's been a shame. Like since quarantine, I have not touched my 200E system. I've just been so busy with other stuff, and I'm like transitioned into this room, which is not my normal workspace. So, yeah, and then I don't know, just trying to stay sane, in these unusual circumstances.
Yes, indeed, and upgrading your internet bandwidth so you can work remotely with more people.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I can't get more bandwidth here. Not until you, not until you start coming up, until you come over and hook me up with a fiber optic line. Yeah.
Yes. Or the new SpaceX laser system.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so that's no worries. That's
Thanks
fine.
a lot. It's been fun.
Yeah, yes. Stay with us again for 5 minutes. I'm doing the recap, and then we can say bye to everybody. So I had Matthew Stanley, peronosphora, Alpha Ster, Andrew Hamilton, Malarkey, Hold That Gun. I like to do shout-out. Sensor Music, who I'm missing also. Dylan Sang was here. Bruce Ricordan, Andrew Hamilton, maybe I say DB Parwan, New System Instrument. I'll talk about him in 1 minute. Michael Fields. Everybody is saying nice show. Thank you for coming to the show. That was really awesome. And I'm going back. I need to change screen. Peff will be on the main screen also. So remind people, this is my site, pitchymango.org. I want to thank you, all my Bandcamp supporters. I'd like to have more Bandcamp supporters, so please consider it as kind of my tip jar to run this show and make music. We had a peak this Wednesday with Xibalba and Malarkey. That was a really awesome, two awesome piece with a nice interview. Please check it up. Resident Electronic Music Monthly is coming on September 8th. It's open for submission. Usually we have about 6 slots, 20 minutes each. Upload a YouTube video as unlisted of your performance, and we'll have a watch party together. Also, Resonant Frequencies on the first Sunday of the month, so that should be the 6th of September. And next peak should be, I think, on the 16th of September, and I don't know the lineup, but as soon as I know it, then you will hear about it. M.0 has released a brand new day, which he recorded for the show 2 weeks ago, so you can find it on Bandcamp. Einbach has released a new album, Light Splitting. Please check it out. Error Grid, whose Malarkey is a member, has released a new album by Sleep Clinic. It's called AD. And I saw also that Julia Bonar has released a single called Fire. And finally, our friend Next Expanse has got a new company, a new modular company, new system instrument, and he has done 2 modules, and I guess the third one is coming up, and they should be really soon. And I think you can go on the site and get the early demo and hear how this module are going, and I think they will be available soon. All right, thank you very much, everybody. As Alpha Star says, see you in the Discord. Yes, indeed. That's where I guess all the modular group are meeting in Discord channel, and cutting the remoteness. We've got chat and together, as we can't see each other at live events. Peff, that was really awesome to have you.
That was fun, Franck. Thank you.
I hope you had fun.
Absolutely. Let's not do it again.
Okay. We'll wait 1 year before we do it again. Next week I should have Kim Nucci. The week after don't know, and the week after I should have Arbeni. So that's a little bit the plan for coming up on the live from the studio. Thank you, Peff, again, and hopefully stay safe and keep making some awesome music.
You too. Thanks a lot, Franck.
Okay, thanks. Bye, Kurt. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much.